The skies over Florida were clear that day. No storms, no clouds, just another training flight, until the radios began to fade. And once again, the ocean decided to keep its secrets. December 5th, 1945. World War II had ended only months before. At the U.S. Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, 5 Grumman TBM Avenger torpedo bombers were being prepared for a routine navigation exercise, Training Flight 19. The squadron leader was Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, 28 years old, a combat veteran with more than 2,500 flight hours. His students were new pilots, recently assigned to active duty. Their mission was simple: fly 160 kilometers east toward the Bahamas, turn north, then return to base. The weather was perfect, visibility excellent. The mission should have lasted 2 hours. It became one of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. At 2:10 p.m., the 5 Avengers took off. Radio contact was normal. Taylor reported, "All planes are fine, navigation is good, weather is clear." Then, at 3:40 p.m., a strange transmission broke through the static. "Tower, this is flight leader. We can't see land. Everything looks strange. Even the ocean doesn't look right." The control tower asked for his position. Taylor hesitated. "I'm not sure. I think we're 200 miles northeast of Fort Lauderdale, but it doesn't look right." The radio operator glanced at his commander. Something was wrong, very wrong. Minutes later, another pilot broke in. "Both my compasses are spinning. Can't tell which way is west. Everything's off." The tower instructed them to fly west, toward the setting sun. But Taylor replied with a sentence that would become infamous. "We can't tell which way is west. Everything looks the same." At that moment, Flight 19 was officially declared disoriented. Between 4 and 5 p.m., the transmissions became erratic. When analyzed later, engineers discovered low-frequency distortions in the background, a rhythmic, pulsing noise unlike anything produced by the aircraft radios. Navy technicians described it as an electromagnetic anomaly of unknown origin. At 5:15 p.m., the final transmission came through. "We're over white water. Looks like milk. The ocean's rising. Everything is wrong." Then, silence. Within an hour, the Navy launched 2 search aircraft. One was a PBM Mariner flying boat with 13 crewmen aboard. It took off at 7:27 p.m. 20 minutes later, it vanished from radar. A passing freighter, the SS Gaines Mills, reported seeing an explosion in the sky and a patch of burning fuel on the sea. No wreckage was ever found. 6 planes. 40 men, gone. For 5 days, more than 300 ships and 21 aircraft combed 250,000 square kilometers of ocean. They found nothing, no debris, no life rafts, no oil slicks. The final Navy report in 1946 contained a single haunting line. It was as if they had flown off to another planet. The case was closed, but a legend was born. Reporters began mapping the area of the disappearance, a region forming a triangle between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The name Bermuda Triangle first appeared in a 1950 Associated Press article, but the mystery stretched far beyond 1945. In 1918, the massive Navy collier USS Cyclops, carrying 309 crewmen, vanished without a trace in the same region. No SOS, no wreckage, the same silence. Decades later, Flight 19 repeated the pattern. It was as if the ocean followed its own rules and erased those who broke them. In 1980, researcher Lawrence Kusher uncovered handwritten notes buried in Navy archives. One entry, written by a radio operator during the incident, read, "Throughout the transmissions, a deep humming sound was audible, like a distant engine or something coming from beneath. Spectral analysis later identified the sound's frequency, 517 Hz, the same frequency later detected by oceanographic expeditions near Bermuda in 1969 and 1997. Scientists from Columbia University suggested the area might be one of the few places on Earth where magnetic north and true north align, causing temporary compass errors. But that couldn't explain how 5 aircraft disappeared simultaneously. Physicist Dr. Alan Klausner proposed something stranger. Localized electromagnetic gravity folds, capable of briefly distorting navigation instruments and even bending radio waves. None of it was proven, but every recorded incident in the region shared one eerie signature: 5 short pulses, 1 long, then silence. In 2005, Navy divers found wreckage of a TBM Avenger 250 kilometers off the Florida coast. At first it was hailed as part of Flight 19. But the serial numbers didn't match. It was another Avenger, lost years later, in the same waters, another coincidence, or another message from the sea. The disappearance of Flight 19 was the first modern event to define the Bermuda Triangle. Since then, hundreds of similar cases have been documented: ships adrift, aircraft lost, compasses spinning wildly. Pilots still avoid direct routes through the area. Fishermen still tell stories of skies that flicker like mirrors, and sonar operators still whisper about echoes that move against the current. Some call it coincidence. Others call it the ocean remembering. But maybe the sea is not trying to hide anything. Maybe it's just trying to tell the same story, again and again, until someone finally listens.